Um, I think when you have nothing to prove, you have nothing to prove. I've had
Hmm.
people try and start stuff with me. I mean, guys in the grocery store yelling at me this close. All I do is switch bags in my hand to make sure that if anything does go down, something goes down. But I think no ego is the biggest thing. And there's plenty of situations where I've observed if something like that would have happened to someone else, a fight would have broken out. So I definitely try to avoid it at all costs because I have nothing to prove.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Dan Devone, and welcome to Inside the Warriors Cup. We're now just hours away, literally, from Warriors Cup 72. It is fight week, and that entails a lot. And who better to talk about it than the man, of course, who is the promoter. He's the former fighter. He's my partner here on Inside the Warriors Cup. Say hello to the Gooch, James Guccione. It's fight week, man. We're days away from Warriors Cup 72. I know this week's crazy for you. You got everybody in town, those that are flying from out of town, in town, you got them in their hotels. What's the week like?
Yeah, it's a crazy week. It's been a wild week already. So we're getting everybody in place. You know, people are coming in. Some people have coming in earlier than they were supposed to. Some people are running late, but we got everything in order. We lost a fight, so some news. We lost our main event, Dimitri and Marcos. Marcos got sick, so that just got postponed. So basically, we refunded everybody that bought tickets to see that specific fight. We want to we don't want them to be locked into an event that they were coming to see somebody, fight. And then that's it. We're going to just push it off to October, which is going to be in an arena. That's the Warriors series where we team up with Ricky. We're going to have kickboxing fights and Muay Thai. We're calling it the Warriors series. It's in an arena. So it's big for the sport because, this is a bigger venue, a lot more seating, huge. They got the Westchester Knicks play there. It's a basketball arena, and it's a big step up from Muay Thai. So this is going to be really good to end up there, and then to have Dimitri headline it is good because, like we talk about, this guy's the truth.
So again, we're just days away from Warriors Cup 72. I know this about you. It's like when it comes to fight week, I don't hit you up, man. I don't text you. I stay out of your world, man. You're putting out all kinds of fires, man. And your energy, you're ratcheted up here. Sort of take everybody kind of what it is that you deal with Monday through Friday, fight week.
I mean, it's been hectic. I mean, besides fight week craziness, I work for the electric company for 25 years, and I'm working nights right now. So I'm working 11 at night to 11 in the morning. And then right when I get home and I think I'm going to sleep is when everybody starts calling. And that's when I'm checking blood work. And that's when we're gathering our last documents, getting everybody's walkout music and figuring out everything that's missing, all the missing pieces, right? Because it's a big undertaking, right? We got 19 fights. So we're talking, 38 fighters. So getting 38 fighters who, as professional as it ends up being on fight night, they're late to hand it in paperwork, this, that, and the other thing. But, we're riding the wave out, gathering everything, talking to who we have to, and make sure we get everybody cleared by the doctor and in order, which we are almost done. I think I'm like 3 guys away from having everybody else cleared by the doctor. I'm just waiting on a couple blood works. We caught a couple, they sent the wrong test and they had to go get new blood. We're sending them to labs. We had one guy come from out of town, and then we found a doctor on Long Island to see him last minute. So that's all the stuff we're doing fight week. It's a mix of dealing with the doctors, dealing with the athletic commission, dealing with the fighters themselves, and just trying to keep an organized show so we get everything down pat.
What's the craziest? Just anything jump to the top of your head when you think about where a fight or a match or an entire Warriors Cup production was in danger of going off? Like, was there a moment, or I don't know?
Losing fights, that's what it comes down to. When you lose a bunch of fights. I mean, it actually speaks to us, and it speaks to the sport right now, and not even just us. It speaks to the sport because in most case scenarios, a little, like, let's say even a year ago, losing my main event, who was a huge ticket seller, a big draw, losing him would be detrimental to the card. And to be honest with you, it really didn't affect us that much at all. It affected us to the point that we had to rearrange some things. I refunded some tickets. Those tickets went back for sale, and they're selling again. So it's like it didn't really phase us, which is saying a lot. Like, you know, I've never been in a position here with us where we could lose our main event, which is a huge draw, and just carry on as business as usual, and everything's kind of flowing. So it's saying a lot for the support that we've been having and the sport's been having.
So I know Dimitri's not going to be available. He's not fighting once again in Warriors Cup 72. Can I elevate my man, the kid, Todd Banks, to being in the main event against John Robinson?
Todd Banks. Franz Pierre's our main event.
I got you.
That's it. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, Franz Pierre is that main event. You know, John Robinson and Todd, as good as that fight's going to be, and I know you're super excited for that fight, that it's a pro debut, you know, and that's one thing that's crazy with the talent of these guys and this and that. We say, oh, it's a pro debut, but, you know, that has fight of the night written all over it for sure. For sure.
Tell me really quick before we get to our first guest tonight, our only guest, and the weigh-in. Weigh-in's coming up tomorrow. Your experiences with the weigh-in, and the majority of the fighters, they're fasting right now. You got to make weight.
Nobody's eating right now. Yeah.
Tell me what it's like as a promoter and also as a former fighter.
Yeah, nobody's eating right now. You know, it's, you know, you're cutting down on liquids and basically getting to the point where you're just drying out. And then depending on how much of a weight cut, I know I would have to wake up the morning of. And I actually threw a monkey wrench at everybody too, like I was talking about when we had Stephanie Woolman on. You know, we're doing a different time. We're normally 5:30 weigh-ins. We've been pretty consistent with that since we started Warriors Cup. And then, you know, since, you know, I came on board about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And then basically this one is the first time we're doing a midday. So we're doing 12:30 in the afternoon. The athletic commission's coming at 1. So we got everybody there, fill out the paperwork. We're doing it in the venue, which we've never done before. We usually do it in a hotel or somewhere else. So that's exciting. It's a little different. You know, they have an event there that night. They got the Armored League. These guys, they beat each other up with medieval armor. So they're using the venue that night. So I knew it was going to be open. So we're going to utilize that space before they get started and open up their doors. We're going to have the weigh-in in the same building.
And take me really quick through fight night. So it's the night of the fight. You obviously got to deal with the fighters. You got to deal with the production. You're putting out all kinds of fires. What is it? Just sort of as much as you can. It's only a half-hour show, man. So tell me what it is that you got to deal with on fight night coming up on September 19th, 2 days away.
Right. You got to deal with everything. You know, it comes from the stress of, is the ambulance going to show up on time? Because you could have everything scheduled perfectly and you're ready to go and all the wheels are in motion and all the fighters are ready and everybody's warmed up and you're waiting on an ambulance.
Always comes down to that damn ambulance.
And I'll tell you, we've been, you know, I don't even want to, I'm not going to say it out loud, actually. I'll talk about it in the next episode, but I can't say out loud that we've been on a good stretch with a new ambulance company and had zero problems. I can't say I'm a knock on marble. You know what I mean? I can't say it out loud, but with definitely, you know, that's always a stress. Even as good as they've been and as solid as the company we're working with now has gotten everybody early, half hour early every time. I say, hey, make sure you come at 6:30, 6 o'clock there. I'm like, feel so much better. But it's always a stress. That's always a nonstop threat in the back of your head that could really screw things up. Go screw your whole time up, especially now we're on TV, right? This isn't amateur hour. Like, we're going to be on TV. So you got TV times. We're dealing with networks. You got to be on time. Like, they say 8 o'clock, we're live. You can't tell, oh, the ambulance isn't here. Like, they don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? It's like, we got to go live at 8 o'clock or we're going to have to start, you know, we might have to plug in the podcast. We might have to throw the podcast on for 20 minutes while we're waiting for an ambulance. But hopefully that day doesn't come. We don't have to do that. So we've been locked in with that, you know, and just like we said, the full day, but the day starts early. We got to get the ring in there. And that's the main thing. You know, you get a guy coming in, building a ring. Our ring guy is solid. You know, shout out the Lord of the Rings, because the Lord of the Rings, I've seen this guy, he's shown up by himself. And I've worked some event, like I've done Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And in Mohegan Sun, I sent him a picture because, you know, my ring guy, I was like, look at this. I was like, look at this shit. It was a union gig and I'm a union guy, so I get it. But there was 15 guys and it took them 5 hours to set up the ring. And then the following week I had my event. That was a boxing event in Mohegan Sun. The following week I had my event. This guy showed up. I was like, yo, where's your crew? Where's it? He goes, man, these guys can't find good help. He's like, I'm like, what do you mean? And he set it up by himself. This guy by himself pulled up with a truck, unloaded everything, piece by piece by piece, and he did it in like 2.5 hours. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, this guy by himself. He was like, sometimes it's better to just do it by yourself, So we got good crew. That's one thing. We've been doing this a long time. A lot of shows. We picked up good support. Production team on all levels is really solid right now.
All right. Speaking of really solid, you ready to get into our first? I'm looking forward to meeting this kid. Inside
Dexter.
the Warriors Cup is coming up with our guest tonight, who is going to join us in a matter of moments. It's Christian Double Decker Dexter. We're going to have that for you much more as we continue on Inside the Warriors Cup. All right, it's time to meet our guest this week on Inside the Warriors Cup. Say hello to Christian Double Decker Dexter. Christian, let's start right there. Double Decker. Is it just the alliteration? Take us through that. How did you arrive at the name?
Alliteration was definitely part of the equation there, but I remember an early boxing coach that I had when I was like 16 or 17. First time he was holding pads for me, he goes, "Damn, you hit like a bus," and that was just something I thought of for my name. And people recently have been thinking it's about sandwiches, but I always say if I didn't exercise, I'd be 500 pounds, so I'm okay with the sandwich thing too.
Nice.
Speaking of sandwiches, before we get into this, it's our shtick here going forward. We always ask our guests, especially those that have New York ties, what is your go-to pizza slice in the city? What is if you needed a quick meal, it doesn't even have to be a meal, and it doesn't even have to be in New York, but where are we grabbing a bite to eat? Where do you like to do it if it's in Manhattan?
Well, I'll go to my post-fight meal the morning after. I always hit up Martha's Country Bakery and get an Oreo mousse cake. And
that's a good one.
Right down the road in Williamsburg is my favorite slice.
There's another one of those Martha's in Astoria too. It's right. Yeah, it's closer to the venue. They got another one of those Martha's.
Yeah, but we got actually immediately after the event, I go to Slider Burger up in Queens City, which is close to Melrose Ballroom as well.
Yeah, I know that spot. That's a good one. Yeah.
You're looking just to replenish calories, is that it?
He's looking to pig out at that point.
Yeah, I have a huge sweet tooth. So I mean, like cake, candy, sugar, chocolate, sodas, all that stuff. Obviously, during camp is a no-go. So as soon as I get my hands on a slice of cake, I love that.
Nice.
Well, our producer,
now, you're from New York, or where are you from? Let's get a little history here. Where are you from?
I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
But my mom is from Staten Island and Brooklyn. I have family all over Brooklyn and Staten Island. I grew up every summer out in Long Island at my grandparents' and uncle's house for weeks and months at a time. So I'm not from New York, but I definitely feel like I was raised.
You got New York ties for sure from the start. Absolutely.
There's a picture of me in first grade holding up like a little sheet of paper, and it goes, "When I grow up, I want to be an artist in New York City." So it's always been in my destiny to end up here.
Nice.
As we understand it, so your Gooch is obviously, I'm Hawaiian and Italian. Gooch is full Paisan.
No, I'm half Irish.
Oh, you're half Irish.
I'm half Irish. Guccione throws everybody off, but my mother's Irish.
Oh, well, there you go. Then we're all
Yep, my mother's a McGuire. Yeah. Maiden name McGuire.
And Christian, as I understand it, you got a little Italian blood in you as well.
My mother is first generation. Her maiden name is Genovese. So yeah, my dad and his German side definitely threw up the last name situation there. But I definitely grew up in Italian culture. Like, so my roommate's Japanese, so he's always got rice in the fridge. Growing up, I always had pasta in the fridge. Whenever I didn't know what I want, just grab some spaghetti, throw it in the microwave. That was
nice.
That was my culture growing up. The sliced deli meats, early Sunday dinner. Definitely an Americanized Italian, but yeah, that's
sure
what I relate to the most.
Well, anytime we get a fellow half Paisan like the rest of us, our producer Rye is going to play us a little Lou Monte. We're going to have to do that. We'll get
post-production. We got a post-production now. We're trying to figure that out. We can't
say post-production. We got to pretend we're listening to it right now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're going to cut that out. All right.
All right. So speaking of eating, and whether it's whatever your go-to is, whether it's pizza, as I understand it, you're a sports nutritionist. So
yes,
what does that entail, as well as obviously a Muay Thai fighter? What does that mean exactly, a sports nutritionist?
So I'm a certified sports nutritionist through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So similar to a normal certified nutritionist, I help people with diets and meal planning and achieving their goals for optimal performance in daily life. But with sports nutrition specifically, it's training to optimize whatever not combat sport, but whatever sport you're in.
Any
So
sport, right? Sure.
any sport essentially, whether it's endurance training, long distance, short sprints. Combat sports would fall under the short sprint category, I would think. And then anything in between as well. So we really kind of tailor diets to specifically achieve the goals and outcomes for that sport.
Nice.
You also got the karate background, which we're obviously familiar with. You teach that to kids. I've always been curious. There's a lot of guys who have the karate crossover. David Akbaji jumps to mind. And you can see the skill set in Muay Thai. How do you use the karate background for someone like yourself? How does that come into effect? How do you utilize that in your Muay Thai fights?
I was speaking to someone about this the other day, actually, and I think it's a little bit of a difference in philosophy. I think both karate and Muay Thai are going to have all of these aspects in it. I think Muay Thai really emphasizes dominance, balance, and power. In karate, we're a little bit more focused on distance control, precision, and speed. So where a Muay Thai fighter might walk forward, a karate practitioner might back up to create the space that they want. Where someone might send a massive roundhouse to the body and just hope it lands on anything, we might hit with the ball of our foot or our toes, which you actually see in my last fight. I hit with the top of my foot on the inside of his leg. And then speed specifically as well. I think we emphasize those things a bit more in karate as well. You need balance and power and all those things. You need both aspects in both sports, but I think it's that emphasis on certain aspects over the other.
I don't know if you noticed, but I was a karate guy. I started at 4 years old, so I was a Ruku Kempo guy. I actually started with Shotokan karate, and then I ended up going into Ruku Kempo until I started boxing, and then Muay Thai came much later. But I was the same thing with that karate background. When I came, it was like adjustment to the style of kicks. I remember we used to snap kick, like it was all the snap kicks, and when I had to like change the whole way I kicked, it was different. But then once I got it, it was like, all right, I was like, this is cool.
I think one thing for me that helped really early on in my amateur career is I told myself I would only fight in a Muay Thai style. So, I stood in the tight stance. I had the high guard. I would stand still, heavy on my back leg, walk forward. And I think I got I'm not going to say great. I'm going to say I got decent at the Muay Thai style. And that's when I started to incorporate more of my karate back into it once I understood the style a bit more. And then from there, I think the success took off a little bit.
And I think that's a good, analogy. That's a good coming together of where the sport is now too. Just that you were aware of what Muay Thai, when I did karate, I didn't know what Muay Thai was. It didn't exist. Obviously it did, but in my world it didn't exist. I didn't know, there was no thought of it. So it's if I could think back, if I was doing karate and I knew about Muay Thai and you could already kind of be incorporating it into your head, that's solid. That's some scary stuff. Dan, I got to tell you a story real quick with Christian. We got to talk this, right? So when Dexter came to us, right, he was one of the first. I had to investigate him, right, because I couldn't believe. I thought he was sandbagging because he was so good, and I actually had to reach out. So he had fought for Karate Combat, which is a huge promotion, and I was like, "Well, that's pro." And then people, it was like, "This guy's a professional." And then I looked, and I was like, he definitely looks like a professional. I was like, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue. But I was like, but did he fight pro? So in New York State, once you fight pro, you can't go back to amateur. You can't fight an amateur after you fought professional. And then I have a couple contacts in Karate Combat. I reached out and I was like, hey, listen, I need info on this. Is this Dexter kid? He's fighting for me. I was like, is he sandbagging or was it? And they said, no, he did an amateur tournament for them. They did an amateur thing, which it didn't look that way at all. It looked as professional as any fighter. It looked like he could have fought anybody on Karate Combat level. He could have been in there with them on a pro level, but it wasn't. It was an amateur level. So he did everything correctly, verified through me, or, I did have to investigate you a little bit because it just didn't seem right. I was like, there's no way this kid's this good, And, on that note, getting into
basically you just told me you thought Christian was bullshitting you. Come on.
I thought he was sandbagging a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, hey, listen, I see it from my stance. I see it all the time from different scenarios, and sometimes, I don't jump to conclusion. I investigate. I look into what's going on. But that's one thing in Warriors Cup we don't let happen, right? So it's we're not gonna let somebody come in that's outmatched. Even Thailand's weird, right? There's a lot of fighting pro in there's no amateur in Thailand. So you're fighting pro in Thailand, you come back. Like, who are you fighting? So we got to like really we dive deep into that. Who are they fighting at what level? Is this really somebody that fought on a professional level that's trying to come back down and vice versa? And sometimes you can. Like, there's plenty of people who aren't anywhere near Dexter's level who fought pro who should be amateurs, like should 100% be amateurs. So, you know, it's a slippery slope you got to look at, you know what I mean? But now we're here with you. You've done everything correct. There's been no nonsense, verified. and you've been just taking people out.
Before we move off on the karate background, I'll put this to both of you guys and you can set me straight, because I heard this, that if you have that as a background, I'm talking about karate, when you get into Muay Thai, is it easier for you guys to turn around? In other words, if you're a right-handed fighter and you want to switch up southpaw, it's a little bit easier because that's more frequently done at the karate level. Is there any truth to that?
Growing up, the type of style of karate I did was called Tung Sudo, which is a Korean style of karate, which is heavy emphasis on the kicks, so similar to Taekwondo, but definitely much more traditional and had punches in it as well. I stood with my right leg forward in that because we wanted to kick with the closest target, side kicks, front kicks, all that snapping roundhouse kicks with the closest target, which would be our dominant leg in front. So I can't speak for all karate levels, but I feel confident in both stances. If you actually look at one of the knockouts I've had at Warriors Cup, it starts with me from a southpaw stance, walking him down, switching into orthodox halfway through, and then finishing with the right hand.
Yeah, I would think it's an advantage, Gooch, would it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? So, you know, I've seen a lot of it. You see it a lot in MMA, right? You see the guys karate, this, that, and the other thing. You know, it's how you could execute. It's how the fighter could execute, right? So sometimes it means nothing. Sometimes it works against you, or sometimes it's just like end of the story. Are you a phenomenal athlete? You could pretty much do good in any sport. That's the way I think it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, are you going to adapt to anything you're taught and just whatever you're taught from whatever style or whatever moves, are you going to do them really well? That's really what it comes down to, you know?
I think to cap that off, one thing about my style to finish off this a little bit is I think it goes to mindset a little bit as well. I don't look at this as a sport. It is a sport. I don't think we're intentionally trying to cause long-term damage on anyone, but being from karate, you know, I'm always taught self-defense. If you have to use it, end the fight. If you have to use it, you better hope that it's quick. So I look at this as this point of, can I defend myself? This person's trying to hurt me. I don't want to let them hurt me. I'm there to compete, but I'm also
that's interesting. That's an interesting mindset. And
unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, but I have broken a few bones and torn a few ligaments in some of my opponents in the past, ribs, legs, ACLs, etc. So it's not a no joke sport. So better them than me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you know, to that point, does this ever happen to you? Because you look like the kid next door, good looking kid, smart, and people obviously don't know your background. Has anybody, whether you're walking the streets of Philly or here in New York, started something with you that you had to walk away, or did you bust out your background, or is it something you just try and avoid?
I think when you have nothing to prove, you have nothing to prove. I've had people try and start stuff with me. I mean, guys in the grocery store yelling at me this close. All I do is switch bags in my hand to make sure that if anything does go down, something goes down. But I think no ego is the biggest thing. And there's plenty of situations where I've observed something like that would have happened to someone else, a fight would have broken out. So I definitely try to avoid it at all costs because I have nothing to prove. I think another thing that's funny is my buddies and I the other day, we were hanging out and we were ranking people. If you ran into someone on the street, you didn't know who they were, who would you be least afraid of? And I was the least.
And you were right.
And then they said, okay, who are you most afraid to fight, like from the gym, and you know them? And the list was like switched. So the person last me, I was first most afraid. And it was just a funny thing. Like the people that tend to be calmer and less assuming can sometimes be the more dangerous.
Well, I can tell you, Gooch, that if someone's yelling in your ear, there's a pretty good chance they're getting headbutted.
It depends. It depends. I keep my cool a lot. I keep my cool most of the time. You know?
Sorry, man.
I will say this. I have a little bit of a funny phrase that when I walk into rooms and stuff, I'll turn to someone that I'm with. I'm like, they're all victims and they don't even know it. They're all walking around because I'm letting them. But I think to be a fighter, you kind of have to have a little bit of that arrogance in you.
Sure.
Yeah, you seem pretty centered for a young guy who's essentially just getting into Muay Thai. I mean, you are. I mean, you're pretty impressive. I don't know if you, as Gooch likes to say, you're sandbagging us again. I doubt it.
Nah.
But this is good stuff.
And I'll tell you, let's talk about this fight coming up. So let's talk about Friday. We got Freddie Hurtado, right? I think I said that right, Freddie Hurtado. So now this guy, what I hope, I'm going to just tell you from my point of view, I really hope that this guy is going to give my man Dexter here a tough fight. That's really because I know he wants it. I've never seen somebody at the end of a fight when they're winning dominantly show such disappointment. And you know what I'm talking about. And it was just a disappointment of not really being able to perform to your highest potential, which you know what I mean? It's the makings of a great fight. We just need to have that opponent in there that could hang with you, right? And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm like, we got to go anywhere, grab anybody that's going to stand with this kid and put on a good, exciting fight. And not that, you've had some exciting knockouts. Like, it's great. It's exciting. It's an exciting knockout. I'm not saying it's not exciting, but I know deep down you're not really satisfied with it. I know you want to get in there. You want to really be able to, think. You want to be able to perform at a high level and be in a little bit of a war, maybe. Maybe not a war. Maybe you wouldn't call it a war, but you want to be in there in a real fight where you're feeling like you're going to have to, this guy deserves a shot with you, I
think it's a few things. I think going back to the sandbagging a little bit, about the point of an amateur career is to kind of get experience with all sorts of levels. I felt like I was ready to go pro maybe 2 or 3 fights ago, skill-wise. But experience-wise, I don't think I had enough minutes in the ring. So Freddie, on the other hand, he's had 23, 24 fights, I think. So he's had a ton of experience. So I believe it's going to be a decent fight.
That's what I hope. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I hope so. That's what I'm hoping.
I said this to Liam, the commentator for Warriors Cup, who we
shout out Liam.
And I go, for some reason when I hit people, they just drop. So I'm hoping that Freddie's got a little bit more of a chin and some endurance on him. I think it's going to be a good fight. However, at the end of the day, I go into every fight. I already know I'm going to win. It's just about how.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'll tell you, I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, this guy, he's got a lot of experience. He's been in there. He's been in a lot of tough fights. He's got a really good record. So, I want to see this fight be, everything it could be, right? You know what I mean? It's like, this is it. This is where, I want you to, I'm looking forward to the end of this fight when I come into the ring and I look at you and we're going to see what happened and what amounted to. Because I perfectly remember like seeing you look kind of like, that's it. Like, all right. like all that training, I just, threw one kick out and they're going down.
Funny story about that. So yeah, my last fight ended, essentially 2 techniques were thrown. He threw a kick, I caught it, I kicked him, and he dropped. That is not the first time that I have injured someone's leg in that capacity. I have also torn someone's LCL with a leg kick before as well. So unfortunate, but I don't want people to think it was a mistake either and a fluke. I think I just hit like a bus.
No, I know for sure you hit like a bus. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And Tristan, in some of your earlier fights that I've seen, it looks as though you like to be the aggressor. Like you like to set the pace. You like to corner a guy. Is that an accurate analysis, or do you just sort of assess once you get into the ring? Are you looking to apply pressure right from the jump?
I don't think I'm looking to apply pressure right from the jump. It looks that way if I feel like I can apply pressure right from the jump. I like to use my eyes a lot. So I like to look, I like to observe, I like to see what's happening. I think it was 2 or 3 fights ago. My first movements in the fight were like 3 or 4 steps backwards with leg kicks. And then once I felt like I had his wrist, his distance, his range, how hard he could hit, I was like, all right, time to go forward. And So if I feel like I can go move forward right off the bat, I'm going to. I want to put him in the corner, and I don't want him to run away from me. But I'm not one to be afraid to back up to create the distance that I need to evaluate and look also.
It sounds like you use that karate background to sort of measure a guy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think one thing that's in karate that's really beneficial when you're transitioning into full contact is in karate, it's all points. So you can hit and not get hit. There's no, I can take it off the guard and try, they stop it. They're like, all right, you got hit. Was it a point? No. So you're not allowed to get hit. So I think that mentality of always keeping perfect range and always just outside of their reach, but where I can still hit them. I always like to be in a position where I can always defend and attack at the same time.
Before we let you get out of here, Ryan, I don't know what the hell this is, but of things we wanted to talk to you about, he's like, we're talking about the fight, and he says he likes frogs. I'm like, what the, Ryan? What are you drinking today? What's going on? What's up with this, Christian? What's with you and the frogs?
I don't know. It started a few years ago. I just really like frogs. I think.
Do you have them? You have like pet frogs?
I don't have any frogs. I have a frog tattoo on my leg. You'll see it at the fight. It's just frog boxing, smoking a cigar. This is my my background on my phone. And wait, I think some of you guys will appreciate.
You're gonna get your nickname changed. You're gonna go from
Dexter
to Frog.
I changed it on
Christian
Sundays.
the Frog Dexter.
Yeah, I think they're cool. I just, frogs are good for any mood.
All right.
Seriously, can we change the nickname right now to Christian Froggy Dexter?
The Frog. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna have a picture of a frog up on the screen. I could control that.
We'll talk Saturday morning.
You're gonna have your walkout. It's just gonna be a giant frog behind you. You're like, how did this happen?
I wouldn't mind that. I'm pretty set on the name. I like the alliteration. It flows nice off the tongue. But yeah, you got a picture of a frog up there. I don't think I'll be too sad about that.
Christian the Frog. I like that.
Dude, you know what his walk-up music is?
I could look it up. I have it in my files.
It's
what song did you?
It's the Karate Kid theme song.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, listen, Christian, man, good luck against Freddie Hurtado. All the best going forward after Freddie. We know we're going to see a lot more of you. We hope to bring you back on and talk about what happened.
We're going to talk about we had the pre-fight. Now we're going to talk about, we're going to do the post-fight. We're going to get you back on. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
All right.
It's Christian the Frog Dexter, ladies and gentlemen. Well, maybe. We'll hold off on that. All right. Thanks for joining us. For my man, James Guccione, for Christian, this is Dan Devone. We'll see you next time right here on Inside the Ring.
Later.